Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got former Outlaw member and former Hells Angel member, Bob and PeeWee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They wouldn't drive that way and only talk to one guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. As soon as you said no, they went and spoke to the other guy. 100% they did.
Were there
And
more
what he
guys
said, Bob?
in the prison? or was
You
it
know what
just
he
you
said,
two?
Bob, to me? When we first got arrested, we were in a holding cell, right? Like you said, when he arrested all you guys.
Yeah.
So they had 11 of us in one big room, locked in. And we're sitting there, and I was sitting like this, up against the wall, and I'm watching these son of a bitches. And you know yourself, brother, you see, what do you call it? People's actions and the way they're acting in the jail.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I'm no criminal prisoner. I'm not, you know what I mean? I've done 60 days here, 30 there.
Yeah.
I never went.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now I'm facing prison time, which I did do. But and I knew when we joined the club, we knew that was a possibility. So
Yeah.
I'm not whining about it.
Yeah.
But that John guy, he's pacing back and forth. And I says, hey, John, why don't you sit the f- down? You're wearing out the concrete here.
Yeah. Well, like I say, when they had all of us guys in, some guys shook it really rough. Now I was kind of newly married. I bought a house and left it to my wife to take care of, and she never took care of nothing. So I lost my house. I gave my bike to my wholesale guy in Toronto, lost my bike. When the cops raided, they took every penny they found at my house, lost my money. So I was down to just having my clothes, my old lady, and my daughter to go home to. That was it. In one year, it went that bad.
Yep.
And nobody in the club came and said, well, how much money does she need to catch up on the mortgage? And or nobody said, well, how about that guy that didn't get arrested, that bought a bike off you, that still owes you for the bike? You want that money? Yeah, I'd love that money. To this day, I never got that money. He goes, well, the cops took the bike. I say, my problem. They took it from your clubhouse.
Right.
Delivered.
Yeah, so while you're in the club, you're collecting money to send to people that are in prison at the time.
Yeah. Well, we used to. They used to. I know the Angel used to. I don't know about Bob's, but like when I came around in 1994, man, we sent postcards, money.
Yeah.
We went and checked on guys' wives, like Bob said. Go over there. Hey, you need anything?
Christmas
there was
cards,
an old Hells Angel
cards.
Right.
Canteen.
There was an old Hells Angel named Gramps that started Minnesota back in the 60s. And he had a brain tumor, right, where they took like half his head.
Wow.
And, he just shuffled his feet. He couldn't do anything, you know what I mean? And he shuffling his feet, and he just, that's all he do is laugh. But he still knew kind of what was going on. So every morning he would walk, get a pack of Camels, a newspaper, and walk home. Well, some kid walked by, took his hat off his head, was a Hells Angel, hadn't kept it. So as a prospect, they'd make me, there were 6 of us. We'd have to take turns going over there, pick them up in the morning and walk with them to the store, 20 below zero, and then walk them back. And, I say to him, hey, Gramps, jump in the car. F that car. We're going to walk. And I'm like, what the hell,
Was he a member?
Yeah, he was a member for a long time. And he just, he couldn't ride anymore. You know what I mean? He had the brain tumor. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you how I knew he knew what the f- was going on. When I left Minnesota, they went and took his patch and told him, you're out of the pub. It's all he knew. Jeez. And when I came back to Minnesota to visit my daughter, and I saw him, I went and talked to him. And he was crying. And he said, PeeWee, they took my patch. I'm not an angel no more. Why'd they do that? So he wasn't as stupid as you think he was.
Yeah.
He was hurt. You know what they did, man? He's in the hospital dying, and they go in there and give his patch back. And then they told him, you're a Hells Angel again. This is years later. They gave him his patch, put it on him, and he died in the hospital.
I hope he at least got a club funeral.
Yeah, that he got, bro.
Geez, we just before I joined, the guy who brought me up and I was a hang around under, had been murdered at the bar I worked at, shot out front, him and another outlaw. So it was a big thing. 2 outlaws shot and killed, double murder, double funeral. And they sent a bunch of guys up from the States. Well, they sent some guys from Wisconsin. You're from up north, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin.
They were giants.
It's all that corn we eat down here, bro.
They got big guys out there, PeeWee?
Yeah, they have some big dudes, man. Yeah.
You're a pretty big dude yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 6'8", 320.
Yeah, you're a giant too.
Yeah.
Like we all thought we were tall at 6 foot.
Right. Yeah, I knew all the guys, Bob, back in the day, man, like Jingles from Milwaukee and a lot of guys, Serp. These are all old timers. They're all dead. They're all dead.
They sent up these guys. So we're talking, I think it happened in 98. So they sent up, and what I got from their chapter, I was still a hang around, was State Line. And they sent about 2 or 3 of them guys up. So I don't remember their names. All I remember was there was a kid at the funeral showing before the actual funeral, and he came to the showing, and I was out front of the funeral home, and this kid had been with the people that shot the outlaws that night. And I seen him. I said, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I went to go grab him, and this guy from State Line just puts his hand on my shoulder. He goes, "There'll be time enough for that later, brother." I said, "Okay."
So you guys been to a lot of funerals for your brothers that have passed away.
Oh,
what's it like to have a funeral from the club?
It's a big deal, man. It's a big deal when the guys get a club funeral. Even if he died, like we had an older fella die of diabetes, but he still got the full club funeral. It's a mandatory for the region. Everybody goes. I wonder if you guys do this. As outlaws, we fill the hole back in.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
It always amazed me, Bob, is when the guys laid out the day before, in the funeral parlor, everybody's sticking shit in their gold rings.
Yep.
And what I did, Bob, is I had these poker chips, and they had a death head on them. It said Hells Angels, Nevada, Las Vegas, and then in the middle it said 1 million. Right? It was a black chip.
Right.
And when the guy's hands were closed like that on his body, I'd always stick between his fingers, the chip sticking up. But all the shit they used to put in the coffins, and then they make the prospects stand there all night to make sure that the the mortician didn't take all the shit out of there,
Exactly. Well, this funeral had so many weird things happen. So we bought 2 plots beside each other in the cemetery, of course, but they buried them diagonal from each other instead of beside each other. Like they were supposed to be like that, and they ended up being diagonal like that. So we had to inter one of them. So we had to dig them back up and move them. And all because as we were throwing the dirt in, guys were still throwing rings and shit and money and shit in there, right? I'm like, how the fuck did all that get moved over? His helmet, everything, right?
Right.
Because we put his helmet. He was a crazy. He had remember like the Vietnam vets, war guys used to put the Ace of Spades playing card in there. He used to put that in his helmet like that. He was obsessed with that sort of stuff, right?
I knew some of those guys. Yeah.
He wasn't even worried about. He was the one guy that said, what are they gonna do? Kill me? I'm not having that good of a time anyway. That was his own. Right. I'm like, well, he was right. He was banged up in jail pretty much since the probate. He was in jail more than he was on the road. Some guys just have that luck, eh?
Yeah.
Our chapter was a kind of a crazy chapter for Ontario. So this is before my time. This is my guy told me this story. One of their members, kind of like your Mensa Mike guy, he had killed a woman out of nowhere. He took the air out of her tire at a truck stop and then kind of waited till she pulled off the side of the highway to get her tire fixed and grabbed her and took her somewhere and raped her and killed her and burned her.
Wow.
And she was just a university student coming back from Easter weekend to go back to classes. So it was a big thing. And it turned out it was this guy did it. And then they went out on a mission, and they got a guy from another club called the Satan's Choice. Now, the Satan's Choice are all now Hells Angels. And when the Outlaws came to Canada, they broke the Satan's Choice in half, and half patched over to Outlaw, and the other half stayed Choice, and now they're Angels. So there was him and the driver, and he actually did the squeezing of the trigger and got caught. And then he put it on the driver and got himself, you know, when they give you blanket immunity for any other crime you might have done.
Yeah.
And he skated on that poor student.